we kind of have a routine where we are on the floor, and then they come off at the 12-minute mark.
That's when
We just, I don't know, and we come in and we do our pregame stuff. I'm sorry, listen, that's nothing intentionally done.
In this round, here's Quanell X.
So, Charles, Louisiana Governor Jeff Landry calls for a new policy that would strip student athletes of their scholarships if they don't come out and stand for the national anthem when it's being played at sporting events in Louisiana. I would like to say to Governor Landry, you need to be properly educated, sir. Do you realize that the same anthem that's being played today was the same anthem that was being played during slavery? For 400 years in this country, Governor Landry, that same anthem that was being played during Jim Crow legislation and segregation is the same anthem. The same anthem was sung and being played when black people in Louisiana didn't even have a right to vote. And they had to pass certain tests about how many blades of grass was in a front yard, a poll tax, just to get a right to vote in southern states like Louisiana. And the coach of LSU already said it was not intentional. But this ain't nothing but a racist cracker who's trying to subtly threaten black college athletes in Louisiana that if you don't stand up and honor the flag the way we want you to, well, then we'll strip you of your scholarship. I say to Governor Landry, why don't you clean the damn anthem up? Because that anthem does not include everybody. Since America's gotten away from her shame of her past, how about we produce a new anthem that's inclusive of everybody and then talk about standing for that one? I tell my son to stand out of respect to the anthem, but I'll be damned I let a man like him threaten to strip student athletes of their scholarships if they don't do it the way he likes them to.
When you say a man like Governor Landry,
that's right.
What do you mean?
A racist cracker like Governor Landry.
Well, why do you, what makes him a racist in this specific situation?
Because he's threatening students of color. That's what he's doing.
He's
because the LSU basketball team was a team full of black young women. Let's be real. Let's not pretend like we don't know what he's talking about
They
here.
got white players on the team.
Yeah, two.
Okay.
Team full of black women.
Well, here's the thing. Jeff Landry and I have a lot in common, okay? We're both crackers. I mean, we're both white men that worked as police officers while finishing our undergraduate education and going to law school, right? He's got a lifetime of public service after being a police officer. He was also in the National Guard, or the Louisiana National Guard, but did not get a lot of traction early on in his political career until he robustly embraced extremism, which of course is usually what is required to get famous in the punditry spaces, right? And nowadays, with our incredibly polarized primaries across this country, in the political spaces, you have to take these extremist pandering takes. And I think just like his positions on the LGBT community are in exact alignment with yours. Y'all would get along swimmingly about that. Now, I do think this is him pandering to the far-right people who were frustrated and mad about people kneeling or not participating. I don't believe, and I'm an LSU guy, I do not believe the coach when she says, oh, well, we just don't, we were off. I think that's full of crap, right? Clearly, to avoid the kneeling issue and the back push that she would have gotten from LSU fans in the state. Because in Louisiana, they got the Saints, but really, I don't care if you didn't finish 8th grade. I don't care if you went to McNeese or where he went, USL, ULL, whatever it is now, everyone's an LSU fan. Everyone follows in the state of Louisiana, everyone follows Louisiana sports. And they most certainly would have upset fans if people were kneeling. It's a strangely conservative state, but here's the thing. If you have a public school paying kids money to play, and he has a solid rule that is directed at all student athletes, not just student athletes of color, because that would be racist, but all student athletes saying, hey, you got to stand. You got to be out there and you got to stand.
But the anthem itself is racist.
No, it's not.
No, break the wording down.
Oh, come
break
on.
the wording down of the national anthem. No safe place for a slave. Let's talk about
okay,
that.
but
So let's
that
be
is not
clear.
included
Let's
in
be
the
clear.
current
The
iteration
author of the anthem was a racist.
But I don't disagree. But the
And
anthem
Charles,
was modified because
my
America
own uncle,
recognized
who fought in
that
World War II.
bigotry. Although you're the biggest bigot I
Charles,
know,
my
that
own
most
uncle,
people
who
think
fought in World
bigotry,
War II, told me, laying in his hospital bed, he said, nephew, he was telling me about the war. He said, do you know that the German prisoners of war that we captured ate better than what we did as American
That's
black
horrible.
soldiers?
It's obscene.
He said we had to give up our beds and our quarters to the white German soldiers, and we slept outside on the ground.
Hold on.
And
Hold
those
on.
same
Hold on.
black soldiers
Hold on.
came back to America, and they was waving the American flag and playing the anthem, and they couldn't even drink out the same water
Hold on.
fountain as their white brothers in arms.
And that's disgusting, and I hate to get off topic, but now you have black American soldiers coming back from wars in the Middle East, white American soldiers coming back from wars in the Middle East, Latino American soldiers coming back from wars in the Middle East, getting displaced out of their beds, getting food taken out of their families' mouths to give that money to illegal immigrants into this country.
But we as black people have always lived that.
Okay. But
after the Vietnam War, America helped establish Vietnamese people in America and took the resources that was allocated for fighting the poor, the war on poverty, and gave it to Vietnamese people.
Is no longer the anthem.
So that ain't nothing new for black folks.
Most Americans recognize, you don't, but most Americans recognize that bigotry based on immutable characteristics, judging people by the color of their skin, is repugnant and disgusting.
But the coach said it wasn't intentional, Charles. Okay, why did he go to the extreme like this? Why did he go to the extreme like this?
Look, well, we know why. He wants this. He wants us talking about this.
Let me tell you what he won't.
We know why.
Let me tell you what he won't.
He wants to fire up his white base.
Let me tell you what he won't.
Like, oh, we're going to stand. But there's also a bunch of conservative blacks in Louisiana that don't tolerate this kind of people that love this country. I know you don't, right? But there's a reason why so many people want to come from Africa to the United States, from Central America to...
America is the greatest country on earth, but great don't make you good. Remember that. Great don't make you good.
Okay.
She's the greatest country
then why not
in
go
finance.
To a good country?
In finance,
why not go
she's
to
the
a
greatest
good
country in. She's the greatest country in education and health and opportunity for
Everyone
people.
wants to come here,
but
because it's
when you say why not go somewhere else,
our anthem. No, I didn't say you. I said why don't other people that are coming from other nations, Central America, coming from why even the people that make it to Western Europe, still trying to come here.
I'm talking about black people.
Okay, why do so many black non-Americans in the diaspora? Why are they still trying to come here?
This white boy better wake up and smell the coffee.
In this round, here's Charles Big Angry Adams.
Quadell, in the last few years, we've seen an incredible decline in the number of new hired white cisgender, white straight men in corporate America. Incredible decline, whereas in every other group you've seen a marked increase, right?
And straight black men?
Hold on. In the university academic settings, almost no political conservatives exist in that space anymore. And the hiring over the last decade, just like the admissions into lead universities, has evidenced an incredible level of discrimination against white straight men, right? They need not apply. And we're continuing to see a number of jobs that are being created that wrap into the job description, not only that a white person shouldn't apply, but continue to paint this portrait of the evils of whiteness, right? And it's horrifying that we would have anyone, right? That we would have anyone suggest that any race, but let's read a little twit. This is for the St. Louis Park Public School District in Minnesota. It's not associated with St. Louis. It is about a 50% white, 20% African American, and the other 30% is a mixture of ethnic minorities, but a middle income, just racially diverse school system that does have slightly more of an African American population than the national average. And this is what they're asking for. They're asking for an assistant superintendent that can actively listen for both spoken and unspoken racial concerns, which is, hey, sure, you want people to be racially aware. Seek multiple racial perspectives. Well, isn't that wonderful to look at, try to engage in empathy and see each issue from the shoes of other people. Examine the presence and the role of, in quotes, whiteness in systems and structures, and are open to feedback regarding their own racial blind spots. The only race that is called out, and then we're seeing this time and time again, is this modern accepted belief that white people are somehow born with a predilection or a bias built into them that they must atone for and they must address. And when people are called out on this, oh, well, I don't mean be good white people. I don't mean allies. I don't mean you. I just mean white, right? And then we're shocked when people are assaulting, then people of color are just punching white girls walking down the street in New York in the face, or older ladies. And we have seen so much racialized animosity directed at white people in terms of violent crime. In fact, in some cities, like New York, for example, that typically murder is racially homogenous, right? Like white people kill white people, black people kill black people, Latino people kill. Right now, 2023 numbers, you have more African Americans killing white people than white people kill, which is unprecedented, right? And you have more African American women killing white people than white men, which is also equally unprecedented, right? And it's because we're saying it's okay to hate white people because of the color of their skin. And just like it was wrong before, when all the damn stupid, ignorant, racist that dominated the spaces in America, that led to Jim Crow, that led to segregation, it's literally just as stupid as this new modern, well, it's okay segregation because we're segregating white people.
You do realize this is a 7-minute segment.
Hey, you know what? Talk all you want.
And you went on for 4 minutes and 15 seconds.
Hey, you know what? At least I'm not quoting the Bible to justify hatred.
Let me get to it real quick for the little time I have left in this segment. First of all, there is an attack not just against white, straight men in America. There is an attack against straight men, period, in America,
okay, especially
God-fearing straight men of all races in America. Have you noticed, Charles, on some of the major news networks, all of the straight black pundits who were masculine, who used to be commentators on these networks like CNN, they got rid of them. And now what they replaced them with is very feministic men to take their place. Do you realize, Charles, that we need superintendents in America to be more open-minded to all of its constituents?
Right, but why does that have to involve?
Because the history of this nation,
why does that have to involve a condemnation of white folk?
You went on for 4 minutes.
Man, come on.
Charles, this country needs superintendents to look at things from a different racial perspective than their own. This country needs superintendents that will pull from every resource, from every culture and community, let them work together to define who the school will be. Too often in America, all of the textbooks are written by white people. All of the curriculums written by white people. All of the passing and testing standards implemented by white people.
But none of that's happening now.
So now it's still happening.
In fact,
that
is
still
white
happening.
People,
no,
Charles, white liberal progressives who are doing things like shutting down gifted
all
intelligence
of the
schools
standardized
and
testing
smart black
in America
kids.
is still implemented by white institutions and white organizations,
about
Charles.
in Houston because kids
That's
can't pass
racist
and they don't want
as
to teach
hell,
them.
Charles.
You know what's racist is telling young black kids that they can't achieve.
No,
and
what's
telling white
racist
kids
is
that they're
telling
born
black
without a
children
chance.
that only meeting white standards qualifies you to be educated. That's racist.
That's such nonsense. We're not talking about white standards. You got to teach
racist?
Math. You got to teach English.
But stop lying to white kids.
And you know what?
Stop lying to white students.
Start lying to black kids.
You're lying to
white
students.
Because black kids are just as smart as white
that they
kids.
discovered
But
America.
they got progressive
You got
liberals
white students
telling them
believing that the
they can't.
founding fathers
And this is
were
the kind of
great
crap
men.
that's limited to it.
You got white students believing that America is a nation of equality. Oh, hell no. Hell no.
That's absolutely
this
nonsense.
racist damn country. Tell the truth to white students. Ladies and gentlemen, in this country, we have to truly reevaluate, do we want to be a nation that's inclusive of all of our citizens? We should follow the example of Germany. After the Jewish Holocaust, they changed their anthem because they knew that it was offensive to what had happened to people of the Jewish race. in the Jewish community in Germany and around the world. We need more superintendents to be honest with white students that they have been fed a generation of lies in this country. The founding fathers are all great men who loved people when many of them were slave owners and child predators. Telling these children that Columbus discovered America still, and that's an outright lie. Telling them that the founder of mathematics and science and that open heart surgery and medicine all came from Eurocentric men and institutions, that is a lie. So white children need a superintendent who can bring them into a real world of truth and help young black and brown students not feel inferior in America's academic institutions, the public school system of America, because too many black kids, such as myself, growing up in school, we didn't see anything that would resemble our people's contributions in education.
This is another example of Quanell's penchant for being dishonest. Quanell and I grew up in the same state at the same time, graduated the same year, and Texas in both of our lifetimes in the 70s and 80s had a very robust, and in my opinion, far more robust and diverse discourse in your history classes and throughout. And I do think we have taken an incredible conservative bent as of late, but to suggest that it's this mono-racial discourse, that no, it's absurd. In fact, to the contrary now, that many white kids are being taught about, just like this advertisement clearly is looking for, someone to school people on the evils of whiteness, as if white people are somehow born bad. And that math, coming from people decrying racism generally, is circular idiocy, right? If you can define one group of people based by the color of their skin, then you can define all groups of people by the colors of their skin. And the truth is, you can't define anyone by their epidermis. In fact, our new overfocus, our new clamoring for segregation, we have all types of universities arguing for white free spaces. We have all this, and it's just a repugnant, right? But if you stand up for it, if you say, hey, this is, stand up against it and say, hey, this is wrong, well, then you're a racist because you don't want change. You know what the change I want is? I want a society that doesn't condemn anyone based on the way they're born, and instead condemns them solely based on their actions, right? Which is the exact same thing that Martin Luther called for, Martin Luther King Jr. You know, let's be better, and let's stop talking about people based by their race.
That's it for the Face-Off on Fox Soul. We'll catch you next time.